Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the T92 HMC, the Tier 10 American SPG. This one's located on the northwest spawn of Empire's border, and it's under the command of Lost Wall Hacks of the Lost Clan. Now, we didn't see any equipment there, so we can't tell exactly what he's got. But we do know that in this battle there's two T92 HMCs on his team, and I'm sure that Lost Wall Hacks will share his equipment load with us if he gets a chance in the description down below or the comments. Okay, 24cm howitzer built on a Pershing hull. It was actually slightly longer and bigger because, of course, they had a lot of weight to put on that vehicle, and the suspension really couldn't take it unless they stretched the vehicle out a little bit. Now, unusually, he's actually moving away from the cap area and heading to the east. And from this spot, he might be able to get shots on some of the enemy tanks as they try to make their way up the center. Well, first one he spots is a Batchat. Rounds out. That was a direct hit for 1,440 hit points. And that's because he was using the non-stun HE, which has got an alpha of 1,420. So he got a high roll on that occasion. It's got 75mm pen with these shells, and a burst radius of only 7 meters. So you have to get the shells fairly close to the enemy if you want to do some damage. The standard reload is 46.98 seconds. And his reload, well, we're going to see it very shortly. And he's got another target to fire at. In fact, he's got two. Okay, 41.34. So he's lost 5 seconds. Oh! Now that's interesting, because he didn't actually get an explosion. Even those two vehicles are sighted, which means that he hit something that wasn't spotted. And there it is. It was a Strib 10712. And one of them just went down. In fact, two of them just went down very shortly afterwards by the T803. Was it? No, it was our Leopard 120, and our Heshbon killed them. So the enemy seems to be losing this one quite badly at the moment. They're 5 tanks down. But don't let that fool you, because of course things can change very quickly. Okay, we've got a Death Star, and he gets a direct hit for 466. That shot fired directly over the valley. The Batchat leaps off the heights there to go after the Death Star. Now, from this position, it's fairly difficult to shoot across the mountain, so it's normally not advised to do so. He's looking in the enemy's rear at the moment, where he expects to find one of the enemy Arty. He's looking for Tracer from the enemy Arty. Might give him a clue as to where they are. In fact, the enemy Arty's been spotted, but he's in a position where we can't shoot at him. In fact, in this position, it's very difficult to get shots on any of the Arty. Well, as he's moving along, he spots this Badger. And I'm afraid that Badger just managed to kill our DBV-152. Now he's trying to kill the FV-215B, the heavy tank. Well, we might be able to get a shot at that Badger. Rounds out. Oh, he wiped him out. The shell landed on his roof and wiped him out completely. Unfortunately, the FV-215B was within the blast radius, and so he would have taken damage, but for the fact that, of course, team damage doesn't exist. But if you keep repeating shots which actually would have damaged your teammates, you can turn blue. So obviously it's not something he wants to repeat. Now, there's only 4 enemies remaining at the moment, so that's looking fairly good for his team. And he just sees an IS-7 dash through the frame of the camera. He's trying to follow it, but that guy's headed back to his own cap to save his own cap. Lost War Hacks is not staying behind. In fact, his teammate in the other T92 HMC did actually come round to his side of the map. As far as we can tell, all the enemy tanks are down in the south of the map. Well, we can tell that for certain because we can see where they were last spotted. We're only down by 2 now, so things are getting a little tight. And he's looking at that T803 while he was on the move, trying to work out if he can put a shell in there. It's very difficult. He might be able to get a shell if he comes through the second gate, but not through the first one. No, not from this angle. The shell can't go up and drop down enough to get underneath the gate, so he's trying to get a bit of height to help. Well, one of the enemy tanks just came out of the castle gates going after RFB215B. Oh! He wiped that one out as well. 517 hit points from a direct hit. So now 2,978 hit points, as near as 3,000 as you can get. And remember, he does have a blind hit in there as well. The blind hit that hit that strip. And he didn't see that strip, but he saw the effects it had on the gorilla. Because the gorilla was sitting next to the strip when he got struck. Okay, so as things stand now, there's only 3 left on the enemy team, 5 on our team. Oh, he's been spotted! Oh, no! Well, that was unfortunate. There was an IS-7 up at the gate. And in fact, yes, he's highlighted on the mini-map now where they are. That's unfortunate. So he got taken out. The communications must have come from the guys that he actually killed to say, there's an Arty there in the open. You can go and get him. And, well, that IS-7 came round the corner and said, yes, I'll have that one. So sadly, now Lost War Hacks has to wait and see what happens with the game. Our other T92's gone to cover. He's hiding in grid square A7. Oh no, things are going very pear-shaped now because the Leopard 120 just got heshbombed. So now it's 3 left on either team. That guy's pushing the wreck forward just to see if he can spot and get a shot on the enemy without getting hit himself. The enemy being the T803. Oh, and the T803 goes down, taken out by our Death Star. Goes by the name of Biggie Ben. So now it's 3 versus 2. But it's not necessarily a fait accompli. The enemy could still win this one. And now they're capping. Which means that our T92 HMC up the other end of the map has to try and get a few resets. Otherwise, this could end up being a loss by capping. Well, the FV215B183 is saying cap. Getting the cap. Both of them are headed for the cap, but now there's 2 in the cap at the other end. So it's all down to the T92 HMC on our team. If he can get a reset on just one of those enemy, and it looks like we've got one in the cap, but have we got a reset? I don't think we're going to get it. I think they're going to cap out. Oh dear. They won by capping. this is the end of battle stats, and I'm afraid, yes, that was a defeat by being capped out. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, in that game, he managed to get 8. And his win rate was high. It was 4,208, which is Super Unicum standard and a bit more. But sadly, Lost War Hacks was wiped out by the enemy IS-7 before he could actually help out to try and get a reset at the other end when the enemy started capping. It looks to me like the T92 HMC may have tried to get a reset, but failed to do so. And sadly, as a consequence, we lost the game. So let's have a look at the team score. Well, we can see the highest damage in that game went to the T803 on the enemy team, who got a high caliber for 6,175 hit points. Second highest damage turned out to be the Leopard 120 with 4,247. And the third highest damage was the Badger on the enemy team with 4,128. We can see Lost War Hacks got 3,710. He was beaten by 3 members of the enemy team, 1 member of his own team, which puts him in 5th place when it comes to damage. When it came to kills, though, we can see that the top scorer was the T803, got 4 kills. 3 kills went to the 113 on the enemy team, and also to the Batchat 25 ton and IS-7 on his own team. And when it came to 3rd place, we can see it was the Leopard 120, Lost War Hacks, and on the enemy team, the IS-7 all got 2 kills. When it came to base XP, we can see Lost War Hacks got 412, but the top scorers were the T803 with 1,104. That was the only one who managed to make it over 1,000 base. 803 went to the 113, and 798 went to the IS-7 that killed him. He fired only 5 rounds in the entire game, but in those 5 rounds, he got 1 penetration and 5 direct hits on the enemy, 7 splashes. 3,710 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters. He did receive 1 hit from the IS-7. It did penetrate him and it wiped him out. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, 2 were killed, and he earned 34,223 credits on a premium count, and that includes 35,000 for a mission completion bonus, 3 bonds for this being tier 10, and 618 experience points out of the game as well. We want to find out which one we penetrated. Was it the 113? No, it wasn't, surprisingly. How about the Gorilla? No, that was a splash hit. Did he penetrate the strip that he hit? That was the blind hit for 732. No. But he did penetrate the Batchat 25 ton on the enemy team as he came out the castle gates and went after one of our teammates. And yeah, that shell impacted him and wiped him out for 1,440 hit points with 1 shot there. So very well done with that hit. Yes, he did get the kill on the Badger, but it only had 193 hit points left. So sadly, that was a loss for Lost War Hacks. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the best map for Arty Empire's Border. A lot of players do block it because they say, well, I can't fire over those huge battlements. The battlements just keep getting in the way. So yeah, it's a bit sad. In fact, if Wargaming were to make this an Arty friendly map, they could make those battlements destructible. And then obviously Arty could shoot holes in the walls and then shoot over the or through the holes in the walls at the enemy tanks on the other side of the mountain. I think they made this map with mountains to make it more difficult for Arty to play. And over the years, Arty has learned how to play in certain places, but they also know that if they're fighting on one flank, it means that they're probably not going to be able to fight on the other flanks as well. Hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like, and thank you for watching.